Alright guys, bag C for steps 13, 14, 15, and 16 involved building up the dampers and all that good stuff. They're typical CVA dampers. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to skip it and I'm going to put my dampers on, but I'm not building those. I have these. These are TTO2B/DF03 dampers that they say are an option for this. It's in the manual towards the back. However, there are some notes in there. We'll go over that in a little bit when we get to that step. But I'm going to put these on and I'll be right back. Okay guys, slipping the rear dampers on. These upper mounts look like they have a wider opening and a narrow opening, so I just made sure that the wider opening was facing the ball stud. But man, that feels good. I forget what oil I put in there because it's been that long. I've had these shocks for a while and I built them before I even got the kit. But moving along, I'm going to go as far as doing this, what is this, battery brace, side covers and whatnot, and then I'm going to call it a day for now, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, step 17, you're putting these side plates on that kind of just slide inside the chassis, and they go under this piece of the chassis up here. It's kind of hard to see, but you also have these, what are these? These are A6s that are supposed to go underneath these little standoffs on the K9 piece. It's a little tricky. Once I got the one side started, I didn't tighten them down all the way. I left them a little loose to give me some wiggle room on this side. So I'm going to see if I can get these screws to start, but apparently that's not going to work. Well, it might work. Make sure I can get the center of the hole. Get that one in. Okay, that one started. I'll make sure I can get this one started. Ah, yes, there we go. All right. They have all started to go in. And yes, they did want you to shave this little piece down here a little bit, just so you can get your battery in and out a little smoother without chafing the covering or cutting wires or whatever you're trying to, however you put your battery in, wires back or wires forward. It's not going to be much of an issue, but alright. That's essentially it until I get the radio gear. I got most of the radio gear. I'm waiting on a receiver. So I'm going to call it a day, and there's the whole rear end assembly assembled. Alright, you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Alright guys, finishing up bag C for the servo mount. I went ahead and centered my Trackstar low profile servo, which is double ball bearings and titanium gears, supposedly. I mean, it was only like $25, $30, so going to see how that works. Again, I got it centered. I'm going to be putting it in with the TD4 aluminum servo stays, and I popped off the A19 spacers just in case I have to adjust the height to clear the center shaft. Now, I don't know if I'm going to need them yet, but I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to mount the servo with the titanium screws. So I'm going to get this in, and then next video I'll start on bag D. See you then. Well guys, I'm hoping I don't need to use those AA19 spacers to make the servo sit higher. As you can see, the servo wire is actually hitting on the optional aluminum servo mount, and I'm actually having a hard time just fitting it in the way it's supposed to go in without pushing down on this rubber grommet here. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see that. I'm sorry, I'm looking through the camera's screen and trying to point this out, but I'm going to make the best of it and see how it works out with this. Wish me luck. We'll see you then, or see you later. Alright guys, getting back on the Super Avante here. I stated something about the spacers, A19s, for the servo, but if I put those in, if I needed clearance, it's gonna hit the servo lead coming out of the servo case. I don't know if anybody else has had that problem. It may be the design of my servo, it may be the design of these optional aluminum servo mounts, but I'm going to see what happens and I'm going to go from there. Okay, moving along. Started on bag D. See, I said that differently, so I didn't say it the other way. Got the front end all, well, the top diff cover, diff case, rockers, rod ends, got all those on. I built up the gears already. I did the same thing I did with the ball diff, but or for the other ball diff. It does say that to take note of the shape of the differential so you know which way the spring and the T-nut goes in. So keep that in mind. I didn't say it for the rear, but it says it for the front. They're basically identical, so I don't know why there is a difference. But I'm going to probably go back and look at the rear, see if it's the same as the front. I'll be right back. Okay, moving along. The lower diff case and the upper diff case kind of mount together. I have a question for some people. You know, I'm going to pull this link off because it's going to make it much simpler for me to demonstrate this. Let me screw this together. I'll be right back. Okay, putting this back together, I got all 9 screws in. You got one here, 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 and here. I'm going to turn off this light for a second because after I put the gears in, I noticed this, and I want to know if anybody else has came across this or if they have a solution or if it's normal. So give me a second. I'm going to grab my magnetic pickup tool with the flashlight, and I'm going to try to position it down through there. See the light? It's coming through the case. That's where the four-wheel drive lathe shaft for the center shaft goes through. I really don't know why there's a gap there. Again, I put it together with the gears in it already, and I noticed that. And I assure you that the cover is sitting on properly. It's lined up. It's, you know, it's got little pegs, so it, you know, you can't really screw it up. All the screws are snuck down firmly, not over tight. Again, I just happened to come across this and wanted to know if anybody else has seen that little gap. You could even see it without the flashlight. That's insane because there's going to be a gear that sits in there with a bearing towards this open part here, and the front drive shaft's coming out through here, or front drive cup, but I mean, that's a possible contamination point for dirt. So just a heads up. Again, if anybody's come across that, noticed it, or seen it, let me know if you have a solution. I'll be right back. I'm going to put the gears back in this and keep going. Alright, gears are going back in. Got a little more grease on them. I did drop this gear. I guess it's like a counter gear shaft. And it rolled all across the manual with the grease. Son of a gun. That's disappointing, but butterfingers. It happens. Let me get the top cover back on and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so it's all buckled back up. Got all 9 screws. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 1 here, and 2 there. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I can't really see the spot now because the drive cup is in the way, but I guess a couple of short runs in some really dirty, dusty conditions and pulling this top cover off will tell the truth that actually sealed. But I did, you know, I like to try to do a dry fit of parts before I screw them together. And even though you push this down, there was still a big gap here and so on and so forth, and then on this side too. But then when you screw them down, they seem to close up. But even when I had it all screwed up, there was still that gap in there. We'll see what happens. Moving on to 27, I'm going to get these front end pieces built, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, on these K6 and the K8 pieces, there's little steps on them, not to mention the orientation in the manual. You know, you got the open side on the upside towards the ball studs, according to this K3 part. So, but there are little steps on there that probably contact on the bearing. So just a heads up, pay attention to the diagram and which way these openings are. Most people will catch that. I'm just throwing it out there. Alright guys, front gearbox is attached. Center shaft is in, and it is spring loaded. So that's pretty cool, so you can remove the parts when need to. And I did use my RTV, my black RTV, on that spring and stuck it in that cup. So if I needed to service the vehicle, the spring won't fall out and get lost. I got upper links, steering links, titanium hardware again. So now I'm going to move on over to the E-bag, or parts bag E, and I'm going to do up this front end, and I'll be back when I get, let me see here, jumping the gun here. Yeah, I'll be done. I'll be ready when I get ready to put the shocks on. I'll be right back after I do most of this.